Hello, beautiful community. I'm back, Salenna Green, and this is the Hot Girls Healing Podcast. Today is almost Juneteenth when I'm filming this, so y'all can expect my Blackness to be at an all-time high. I am feeling myself. It is also Pride Month. And y'all know my non-binary self be out here just being a baddie every day, but especially during Pride Month, we out here. So happy Pride, happy Juneteenth to all my Black people. We up, we happy, we blessed, we here. Today I am joined by Mark, who's going to be having an awesome conversation with me. Today we're talking about something that I don't even know a lot about. I probably have the same amount of knowledge that a lot of y'all do from books or TV shows, maybe even like reality TV shows. I think there are some like back in the day where there have people come on talk shows and hypnotize people. But today we're talking about hypnotherapy, y'all. So gather around. I'm going to learn a lot today. You might learn something. You might know more than I do already about this topic, but it is something that people are using for their healing. It's something that you're going to hear about someone's personal healing experience around it today. So I hope that you're able to honor and hold space for that as well. But let's have Mark introduce himself. Mark, please introduce yourself to the people, and then we'll get into this conversation around hypnotherapy.
Greetings to everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world. I say hello and I bring you greetings with great humility. And that was an awesome introduction. You mentioned Pride Month, you mentioned Juneteenth. It is also Men's Mental Health Month. So kudos to all of that. Yes. See, let's have an awesome conversation and make the magic happen.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love you bringing men's mental health to our attention. This is something that as a community, we're definitely talking more about. I'm seeing a lot more men talking about men's mental health, which is amazing to me. For me, I think that, programming done by community is always going to be the best. I found that in my own journey. And so I've seen a lot more programming popping up where men are creating space and holding space for men. I've seen it in community where, non-men are holding that space as well, which is very important. But I definitely support men's mental health. I think it's something that's extremely important.
Yes. Back to the intro. I'm sorry. I go off on tangents like that, so you got to forgive me. I'm Mark. I am a certified hypnotherapist, among other things in life. And I'm here today to shed light on hypnosis and hypnotherapy and debunk many of the myths that persist within our community and society as a whole, but especially within our community. So, let's get it on and popping. Let's get it flowing. Yes.
Yes, I'm so excited. Okay, so the first thing that I'm curious about is, what I'm sure other people are thinking, like, how did you even get introduced to hypnotherapy? Again, I've seen it on talk shows back in the day where they would, I want to say Maury, but I don't even know if it was Maury, but like that genre.
Okay.
Where they bring on a hypnotherapist and he makes people cluck like a chicken and bark like a dog. And, so I hear you're here to dispel some myths. Can you make people cluck like a chicken and bark like a dog?
If they choose to, yes. But that's something we're going to get into a little bit later. Let me tell you about my journey. First of all, I need to let people know I am also physically challenged. I have cerebral palsy. And my other professions, I'm also a licensed optician. So therefore, I spend a lot of hours on my feet. And pre-pandemic, all of the rage was the opioid crisis. No one wanted to, get hooked on the pills from Western medicine. And I got to say, the opioid crisis is still very prevalent, still very real. It's that individuals don't talk about it because of the pandemic. Well, anyway, previous to that, I spent a lot of time on my feet. And I searched for a more holistic and natural way to deal with my pain. Sometimes my pain on a 1 to 10 scale would be as high as an 8 or 9. And I sought a more holistic way to deal with that. And one day I was speaking with a friend and they said, well, why don't you try hypnosis? And like most people, I dismissed it. Oh, that's not real. It's only something that happens in the movies, and all of those misconceptions that we're going to dispel today. So, one day I was on YouTube. Oh, good old University of YouTube.
Yep.
Fortunate or unfortunate, depending on how you look at it. That's how a lot of people learn these days. you
Mm.
know. So I was on there one day and it came across my feed, hypnosis for pain management. I was like, wow, are you kidding me? So I tried the file and it honestly didn't work. But what it did was it sparked a curiosity in me. So I began to search and search and search and search. And finally, I found one that did. I was able to bring my pain from like I said, an 8 or 9 all the way down to like a 1 or 2. And I was like,
Wow.
wow. Now, let me state for the record, you should never really totally eliminate pain from your body because pain is your body's alarm system to say something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't totally eliminate it, but I certainly did bask in it. So I did that for a while. And like most people, it takes a while to kick in, but I realized this is a gift. This is something that is allowing me to work longer in my career. So because I've been so blessed with it, I had to share that with others. Because
Yes.
if I didn't share with others, my blessings would be taken away. That's what I feel. So I decided to learn the science, and I did. And, I learned virtually because this was during COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm here today. I typically help people with smoking cessation and vaping cessation, mental and emotional detox, insomnia, and things of that nature. But it can go, hypnosis is a part of a person's everyday life and we don't even realize it. Anything that can be experienced with the five senses can be enhanced or modified with hypnosis. That's how prevalent it really is.
Wow. This is interesting. How does like how does it work? Like what is an example of if I have insomnia? What kind of hypnosis are you going to recommend? What does that look like?
Okay. Well, if you have insomnia, what I would do, I would take you into the hypnotic state, and I would uncover what the trauma is or what the issue is that's causing the insomnia. Once we
Mm.
work on the root cause, which is something that Western medicine very seldom does, they'd rather give a pill. Now, again, I'm not
Oh.
against Western medicine, but the prevailing thought is to treat the symptom, not
Mhm.
the issue.
Yeah, Western medicine loves a band-aid.
Yes,
That's
yes,
not,
yes.
throwing shade to acknowledge that.
Yes, yes. So, we would attempt to discover the root cause. And then I would
Mhm.
give a post hypnotic suggestion. Whereas, say if it was a word, I'd give a post hypnotic suggestion. So every time you said that word, you would fall into a drowsy and sleep like state until you naturally went to sleep.
Mm.
Now,
Okay.
that being said, let me tell you basically what hypnosis is. There's 100 different definitions of it, but the most practical one that I've found is that hypnosis, it's concentrated focus in a relaxed state. Now, you don't necessarily have to be in a quiet environment to be hypnotized. I've seen people get hypnotized in casinos, out on the street. So it doesn't have to be a quiet setting. But for things like hypnotherapy, it definitely should be because we're
Mm.
working on something at that point. We're working on the trauma or we're working on an issue. So it needs to be a quiet and relaxed place. But to be hypnotized, that can happen anywhere. And it happens to individuals every single day in one form or another. Just about.
Wow. What would you say something of a more common hypnosis or a daily hypnosis that people might experience or engage with that they're not aware of yet?
Get ready because I'm going to give you some examples that's going to knock your socks off. Let me ask you, have you ever read a book and you could see the scene in your head?
Oh, I'm a reader. I That's why I read because I can see the scene in my head.
You were hypnotized by the words. Have you
Ah.
have you ever smelled something cooking and instantly became hungry?
Mm. I have.
That's another form of hypnosis. Have you ever driven to a location that you go to often, and then it's just one of those days where you drive there and you arrive and you can't remember how you got there?
Yeah, one of those who was driving the car moments.
Yeah. That we call that highway hypnosis. Okay. And
Mm.
here's another one. Have you ever watched the tearjerker of a movie and you cried?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we all know that those are paid actors and actresses, but yet, the actors and actresses' actions and words, they evoked emotion in you. You were hypnotized by their acting. So it's around you every single day. It's just that when people hear that word hypnosis, a certain amount of fear is struck in them. And that is because of some of the things that you see in the movies. But remember, they're over dramatized to sell the tickets, to make it interesting, you know.
Yeah, that is really interesting because when I hear you describing these different instances, it sounds like a part of hypnosis is, or I mean, okay, so when we're talking about being taken over by hypnosis, it sounds like this thing that like can just be done to you. And, sure, to some extent, it sounds like people can fall into these places, like your example of highway hypnosis. But it also sounds like it's something that is like you consent to it. You almost like agree to engage in this process and to kind of like let yourself go into it almost.
Absolutely. It is definitely a collaborative effort, especially when you're dealing with hypnotherapy. One of my main jobs, is to quickly establish a rapport to make you comfortable, to put you in that place where you're going to relax. And also, I need to backtrack for a moment. When you are in a hypnotic or trance-like state, what we're actually doing is communicating with your subconscious. The human thought process takes place on two levels, the conscious and the subconscious level. Now, your conscious thought takes up about 10% of your thought process, and your subconscious takes up about 90. That's where your memories are and all of your past experiences. So, what we do when we place you in a hypnotic state, we bypass your conscious thought and we speak directly, or we communicate directly with your subconscious. Now, here's the thing that's awesome, and here's what's going to debunk a lot of myths. Your conscious thought, which makes up about 10% of your brain, of your thought process and brain thought, that protects your subconscious. So, number one, you're not going to do anything against your moral code when you're in a hypnotic state. Because what's going to happen, although I'm speaking directly to your subconscious, if it's something that your conscious thought does not like, either one or two things are going to happen. You're either going to come out of that hypnotic state totally, or your body's just going to ignore that suggestion. And here's another myth. It is not mind control. I do not have any superpowers. I have simply learned the science. So you're not going to do anything that you don't want to do. Now, when you see those individuals on stage, they're barking like a dog, or they're doing whatever they're doing, you got to remember, number one, the hypnotist asks for volunteers. So you automatically want to go up and give a good show. So you're already predisposed to that. And we do what's called suggestibility test. Because when I give you when I say something to you when you're in a hypnotic state, it's only a suggestion. You still have to process if it's something that's okay with your moral code, or if it's something that you are willing to do. So there's constant communication. And what the hypnotist does, he or she gives suggestibility tests to see how well you respond to suggestions. For those individuals, if you've ever watched a hypnotist show from beginning to end, you'll see there's certain members that are up on stage that they go to more than others. It's because through the suggestibility tests, they've determined that those individuals that are most responsive, those are the ones that they're going to call on most for the effect of this show.
Oh, it feels like you're like telling me the secrets behind the magician,
Yes, yes,
like how they made the woman disappear.
yes, yes. That's it. We're uncovering the veil, and we see that it's a natural state. And as a matter of fact, to give you another example, you are hit and bombarded by subliminal messages all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to the movie theater, what's one of the last things you see before the show starts? You see something from the concession stand, like popcorn popping or a soda pop being open, because they're sending you a subliminal message. Go and buy something to eat. Go get something from this concession stand. When you walk into a supermarket, you'll notice that most of the candies are at children's eye level, and they're in bright packages to stimulate
Mm-hmm.
that child's mind. So let's see. Mom's got a cart full of groceries. That kid see that bright candy wrapper. He wants it. He or she is gonna whine and moan, they're hoping that the mom gets frustrated and say, "Just put it up there. If it'll keep him quiet, just put it up there." So we're being
Mm-hmm.
hit with subliminal messages all the time. Salesmen, they're trained in conversational hypnosis. Their idea is to get you to say yes, yes, yes. Science has proven when you're given a suggestion, if you say yes to something more than 3 times, then the likelihood that you will accept what they're offering you, it increases substantially.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, we see it a lot, especially in things like marketing and,
Yes.
you know, television. I spend a lot of time thinking about, what representation we see,
Hmm.
especially when it comes to our own people and how that then affects people's, own imagination about what they're capable of and what's possible in their community. So I definitely hear you.
Good, good, good. And imagination is a big part of it. Now, there are some people that should not be hypnotized. Now,
Mm,
those are people who are mentally challenged because they may not understand the commands. Okay, that's one group. Then people who may suffer from schizophrenia or if they're bipolar or if they have epilepsy, that's because of the way that your brain processes information.
mm-hmm.
Or if you've been clinically diagnosed as depressed, or if you're going through a drug or alcohol psychosis, we would tend to not want to hypnotize you, because number one,
Okay.
if you're being seen by if you're being seen by a professional counselor, then we don't want to interfere with that at all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, 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 and it's up
I
to
want
the.
to talk.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
It
No, please.
it's up to the hypnotherapist or the hypnotist to act responsibly and ask those questions and ethically.
No, yeah, that's definitely worth talking about because even, with the part where it's a collaborative effort, there's definitely a certain amount of trust, I imagine, that needs to be developed
Yes, yes,
before you become hypnotized by someone.
yes,
And then in that state, there is absolutely an ethical responsibility that needs to be upheld through the process. So I'm actually really happy that you said that.
yes.
I do want to talk more about when you were talking about the mental and emotional detoxes.
Okay.
This definitely sounds interesting to me as someone, who is a healer and likes to facilitate and witness healing. Um, is that a part of the mental emotional detox? Is this a part of a healing process or
De-
what is this?
definitely, definitely. First of all, let me say that hypnosis itself doesn't cure anything, but what it can be is an awesome aid in helping you put the work in that you need to do to heal thyself.
Mm,
Okay? Now, with a mental and emotional detox, everyone as a living human being experiences trauma. I
mm-hmm.
don't care how well you put together, how well you are, quote unquote, adjusted in life. As part of you living and breathing, you've faced trauma.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
trauma is the way that you learn. in some aspects. It's one way that you learn. So, as a hypnotherapist, one of my duties when you come to me is to discover what trauma you may have had that causes you to act or not act in a certain way. So we work to uncover those traumas. We can do that by having you, when you're in a hypnotic state, having you look at your life experiences. And then what we would do, those that are less than positive, we would reframe your perception of it.
Yes. Wow. Perception is really everything. That's powerful.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like mental and emotional capacity building. Like,
Yes.
doing this healing work is hard and it takes a lot of energy. And sometimes we don't have energy to do the healing that we want to do because we have so much psychic energy tied up in trying to hold memories or experiences at bay that we don't want to think about, or what have you.
Yes. I have an exercise that I call the gray room. It unfortunately is not something that I discovered, but it's one that I learned. It's where we hypnotize you, and we have you look at your life experiences, those positive and those negative. And what we do is we would reframe the negative ones or less than positive ones, and we accentuate the positive ones. So therefore, you are left with a feeling of self-worth and a feeling of self-accomplishment and self-fulfillment.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so good. I talk a lot about unlearning and relearning in my own healing process, and it just sounds so much like that. It sounds like an aid in unlearning and relearning what we've been taught, some of the things we've internalized. Because we do all have positive and negative experiences in our lives. And a lot of times, what we focus on is what we feel like is the majority of our experiences.
Yes.
So if we've had, maybe a few positive experiences and a few negative experiences, but we are spending so much time and energy thinking about, remembering, perpetuating those negative experiences, it makes them seem so big and so dominant. And that perspective shift of being able to actually consider the fullness of your life and then appreciate it for what it is huge and has been for me. So I think if that's what hypnotherapy can help you do, yes, thank you, hypnotherapy.
Yes. And there's a popular saying, you are what you think. And if you tend to, focus on the negative energy or the negative events in your life, you do wind up being a person with a negative persona.
Yeah, that's so true. Tupac said it, we got to change the way we think, but eat and treat each other.
Yes.
It's all connected.
Absolutely.
I think that even that exercise that you're describing of, taking a look at one's life path or one's life, that is more reflection than a lot of people are just doing on their own.
Yes.
I think reflection is huge for growth and for healing.
Yeah. And one thing I must say, going back to ethics, when, you're in that hypnotic state, it is up to the hypnotherapist to refrain from using negative words. Like if it was a case where you didn't want to, you're coming to me for energy and say you don't want to feel fatigued anymore. Instead of saying you will not be tired anymore, I would say that, tiredness will be absent from your life. Because that word not, your subconscious does not like to hear negative words. So if I said you're not going to be tired anymore, what your subconscious would more than likely hear is you are going to be tired anymore. It's not going to want to hear that negative word. So we have to be very careful with the verbiage that we use. And, when I have my pre-talk, the moment you come on the screen with me, I'm cataloging things. I'm noticing how you react to certain words. I'm noticing, your mannerisms. I notice when I say something extremely positive, you smile and then you talk with your hands. See?
Yeah. Damn. Clocked me. But
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
That is true, but I love the intentionality of it.
Mm,
Just like I'm hearing so much intentionality. I'm hearing that, hypnotherapy is exercising, being gentle with people.
mm,
All of these things are things that I've had to actually like help myself through. Um, the process of changing how you speak to yourself. It sounds like hypnotherapy would help with that, because if I'm in hypnotherapy and they're speaking to my unconscious mind so positively, so intentionally, not even telling me not, when you're building me up, like that is then going to, in turn, I imagine, change the way I speak to myself. My perspective is going to change. I might start speaking more gently to myself
yes.
consciously.
Yes. And just to further illustrate, one of hypnosis's kissing cousins is meditation.
Yeah. Oh, I've been hearing meditations like name,
Mm,
like it whispering in the back of my head since we started the conversation.
yes.
I was not going to bring it up though, because I said, girl, you here talk about hypnotherapy? But yes,
Yeah.
absolutely meditation.
Here's one of the slight differences between the two. When you are in a meditative state, yes, you are focused, yes, you are concentrating, but at that point, you're seeing what's there. You're
Mm.
finding out what's there. Okay, but with hypnosis, even self hypnosis, or if you're guided by someone else, you're attempting to modify what's there. With
Mm.
meditation, a lot of times with meditation, you're accepting what's there. You're seeing what's there, and you're simply accepting it. But with hypnosis, we are making suggestions to bring about change.
Mm. Yeah, I really hear that distinction, because so much of meditation is just being aware.
Yes. Yeah.
Being aware of your body, being aware of your breath, being aware of, your muscles. Are they tense? Are they relaxed? So, yeah, that's absolutely that key difference. I feel like one of the parts that they have in common is that visualization part.
Yes.
I think meditation really helped me to be able to like claim my imagination in a new way. I think that a lot of the times when we're, just living through life, experiencing these traumas that come with living, um, it trains our imagination. Capitalism, I always say, trains our imagination to be very limited, to only think about what is possible within capitalism.
Yeah,
But things like meditation and certainly it sounds like hypnotherapy are inviting us to go beyond that. We're breaking through to true imagination where we can be and do anything, and that is true power to me.
absolutely. A lot of times in marginalized communities like ours, you know,
Hmm.
we lose our ability to dream way too often in life, way too early and way too often. But we have to understand that that is societal pressures that are brought upon us, that are laid upon us, and designed to do that.
Hmm.
It's designed to do that, because here's the thing: imagination leads to innovation. There goes that smile again. Yep, I
Say
hit.
that one again, please.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Imagination leads to innovation. If you look at some of the greatest inventions throughout history, they start with a thought. How can I make this better? Or how can I create something that will take care of this issue? And it comes strictly from imagination and the human thought.
Oh, it's such a power that, like you said, is stripped from us as early and as often as possible in this world. And reclaiming our imagination as Black people. Whew, the things, our community has come up with when we allow ourselves to. So it is so huge. I want to talk about some of the practical applications that come from hypnotherapy.
Okay.
What are the ways, and I know we've already kind of talked about it, but I really want to draw it out for anyone who's listening. Like, how is this applied to life?
Okay. It's applied to life because, number one, we're reframing your perception on things. Okay. If a baby does not know fear,
Mm.
an infant baby does not know fear. A spider can walk across a baby's body and they won't know fear because they don't know what it is. Fear is something that is learned. So what we do with hypnotherapy is we tap into the subconscious mind and we reframe things. Hypnotherapy can help in so many areas of everyday life. Besides smoking, vaping cessation, mental and emotional detox, it even can help with intimacy issues. 'Cause let's remember, the biggest sex organ in the body is your brain. Now, if
Yep.
we can tap into your subconscious, and if you're having problems with intimacy or sexual issues, if we can uncover that trauma that has caused that, then wow, it can lead to better intimacy, better communication, better sex.
Hey, I'm a fan of that. Okay.
Yeah. Yes,
Sorry.
yes. That's a whole nother show by itself. I mean, I can go for hours.
Look, that's why this is called the Hot Girls Healing Podcast. And okay, so we here for the healing in all areas.
Okay, good, good, good.
I want to talk a little bit more, if you would, because um I'm like, I don't know if you guys know this. Why would you? But Mark is someone who, he facilitates hypnotherapy, but you've also engaged in hypnotherapy. So I would love to hear more about, what is it like to facilitate that for someone else? What is it like to go under yourself? Were you scared the first time? Like, I've never done it before, so I need you to tell me.
Okay, okay. Well, who knows? Someday in the future, you may get a chance to experience. Who knows? But anyway, the first time that I was hypnotized by someone else, other than myself, when I was learning, I actually fell asleep. I
Oh.
was so relaxed, and I was a little embarrassed. I asked my professor, my instructor, I said, hey, he said, don't worry about it. That happens. You see,
Mm.
the major difference between, one of the major differences between self-hypnosis and when you're hypnotized by somebody else is that they're guiding you. So, when you are guiding yourself with self-hypnosis, you realize at a point that, okay, it's going to go for a certain period of time, and
Mm-hmm.
this is my objective during the self-hypnosis session. But with the collaborative effort, you're entrusting that person to take you there and to guide you through the process. So
Mm-hmm.
my first experience with someone else, man, I knocked out. He's like, Mark, Mark, Mark. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, don't worry about it. That's natural. But I also have to say, and you'll appreciate this being a healer yourself. When you are helping someone, in a sense, you're taking on somewhat of what they're trying to release. So you have to have a mechanism for letting it go
Mm.
so that it doesn't become attached to you and you don't take on the burden that they're trying to lift. So,
Mm.
as a healer, I have to have mechanisms to relax and release myself from whatever trauma they're getting rid of and not take it on myself. There's a line in talk therapy circles. They say every therapist needs a therapist
Mm-hmm.
because you have to have a means of letting it go. And for me, the idea of helping someone and, you know, being that conduit for help. It's amazing to me. You know, I have a quiet shirt on today, but I typically love to wear loud shirts, the loudest, the most audacious shirts you can find. The reason why I like to wear loud shirts is because when I walk into a room, you see me and I don't have to say a word.
Mm, yes. Say that. Wow. Man, Mark, I don't know. I really don't know. I think I might have to find some hypnotherapy. I actually really like the idea of the self hypnotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to look more into that process. I might have to attend YouTube University too to see what's up, but it's just I love thinking about therapies and methods of healing that are, outside of what Western medicine and healing says is right and, worthy. And I think hypnotherapy takes that step, to the left or to the right or what have you, into exploring something that, you know, is real, but might be more controversy.
Yeah. And let me say this for the record. I'm a proponent of all therapy. As long as it doesn't hurt you, it doesn't hurt someone else. If it's therapeutic for you, make that thing happen. I have a friend, and I know of people that they have bad PTSD, and they fly model planes, and it helps them relax. So that's their therapy.
Wow, that's so random sounding, but I was actually diagnosed with PTSD last year, and I was like, me, surely I'm so well adjusted and this, that, and the other that I couldn't have PTSD. The other random thing that I also decided that I wanted to do, I think 2 or 3 years ago, was get my private piloting license. I'm like, I wonder if there's something about wanting to fly a plane and having PTSD. Probably not, but that just felt like such a random connection.
Mm, mm.
That's so funny. I wonder what that is. But in any case, I absolutely agree. My husband actually has a little plane that he flies, and it's yellow, and he has a lot of fun flying that thing. I found that the controls are a little hard for me to get into, so I don't know. Hopefully, the controls on a real plane are different. I don't know though. We'll see.
Exactly.
But yes, pursue healing in whatever way touches your heart, opens up your soul, makes you feel like the sun is shining on you, and is not hurting yourself or others is extremely important.
Yes.
Mark, is there anything that we haven't said about hypnotherapy or anything that you would want to share that people should know?
Well, I want to say this. Oh, going back to misconceptions for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
This is not voodoo. It is not work of the devil. It is simply a science. For those individuals that think that it's against God's word or your Creator's word, whatever it may be, I am a very spiritual being, and I would not allow anything or anyone to interfere with my spirituality. So it does not go against anyone's religion. It is simply a science.
Say
And
that for the people who be scared sometimes.
yes. Again, I'm just gonna leave this very small nugget, and I'm gonna say this again. I told you it's focused concentration in a relaxed state. Now, I'm just going to say this: when you pray, what are you in typically? When a person prays, they're typically in a focused state, and they're relaxed. And I'm gonna leave it right there.
Look, I was raised Christian. There are many a parallel between Christianity and any kind of witchcraft, but that's for y'all to reconcile between you and your God. All right. So I think that we have really come to a natural point in this conversation. I feel like I have learned a lot about hypnotherapy. I'm someone who is also open to very different kinds of therapies. I think, when it comes to Western healing and Eastern healings, I think that, as long as you're healing, right? Like for me, that is my goal. Self-love and relationship healing for the people.
Mhm.
There are many ways to go about this. I hope you all learned something from the way we spoke about it today. I certainly have really appreciated you being here, Mark, and you sharing your vast knowledge and experiences with hypnotherapy, with myself, and with the Hot Girls Healing audience. Where can people find you in the real world?
Okay. I do have a website, but before I give you that information, I want to leave your audience with this one nugget. Okay?
Ooh, okay, come on, Nugget.
Yes, yes, yes. When you look in the mirror, you should see greatness. And when you look in the mirror, if you don't see greatness, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and when you open your eyes again, begin to see the greatness in you, because we all have it within us. It's just a matter of uncovering.
Mark! That's such a gift.
It is. It is. It is. Yeah.
Y'all be open. Be
Yeah.
open to your own greatness.
Yes. Yes. Now, I can be found at my website, www.tranquilityhealthwellness.llc. I can be found on Facebook under the same thing, also by Mark Kemp. That's MarkKemp, as in Peter. I am also on TikTok under Hypnotic Dog, and that's Hypnotic DAWG 1. Yep, Hypnotic Dog
Yeah.
1, yes.
The way you hit that P and that G, P.
Yes.
I'm a mess. Let me stop. Thank you so much, Mark. I really had a lot of fun talking with you today.
Yeah,
I've learned a lot.
it was awesome. It was awesome. You know,
Thank
your
you.
energy
Y'all
is
find this man. Find him. Talk with him. Get hypnotherapy and your glasses, right? Like
yes, 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 yes. But it's all about the healing of the eyes, or healing of the soul and spirit. It's about healing.
look, I got contacts in my eyes right now.
Yeah, yes, yes,
Healing of the eyes is real.
yes.
All right, Mike. Thank you so much for dropping in and chatting with me today in the Hot Girls Healing Studio.
Yeah.
And y'all out there, thank you so much for listening. If this is the first episode that you have found of the Hot Girls Healing Podcast, thank you for, joining us and getting into it. And if you've been rocking with me since the first episode, thank all two of you. Like, y'all are for real with me, and I appreciate you. So I'm Salenna Green. This has been another episode of the Hot Girls Healing Podcast, and I will see you next time.